In the endless tapestry of creation, where threads of power weave through dimensions like silver veins in eternal stone, there exist beings whose essence bends not only the rules of gods, but the foundations of existence itself. Among them stood Thor Odinson, son of Odin, who once wielded Mjolnir with honor, rage, and the heavy burden of prophecy. Yet the Thor that now strode the halls of Yggdrasil was no longer merely a thunder god. He was something far greater, something transcendent, the Rune King. The journey to his ascension was carved through sacrifice. Thor had hung upon Yggdrasil, not as his father Odin once did, but longer and deeper, surrendering his mortal heart to the rune's infinite wisdom. He gave his 2 eyes, not just one, and in doing so embraced the raw truth of all things. The runes, older than gods and elder than time, whispered to him secrets of fate, of power beyond Asgard's golden halls, beyond the 9 realms, even beyond the fiery void of Muspelheim and the cold stillness of Niflheim. He became Rune King Thor, a god not bound by prophecy, but one who could tear its chains apart. He had no destiny. He was destiny incarnate. But destiny is a dangerous thing, for in other corners of the multiverse, another being stirred, a man whose will was so absolute it could fracture infinity. Owen Reese, the Molecule Man, once a fragile, neurotic human, his accident with a particle generator had rewritten him into something inconceivable, a living embodiment of the multiverse's molecular structure. Molecule Man was not merely powerful, he was the very possibility of power. He could unravel stars like cobwebs, rewrite galaxies with a gesture, or end entire universes with a sigh. Yet his burden was as heavy as Thor's. For every molecule he controlled, there was the gnawing madness of holding creation in trembling human hands. The multiverse had known the danger of both. Thor, who could unmake Ragnarok and cast aside fates written in stone, was seen as an anomaly even by the Norns. Molecule Man, meanwhile, was both feared and exploited by cosmic forces, the Beyonders most of all, who once used fragments of his being as weapons to annihilate reality itself. It was inevitable, then, that their paths would cross. The spark came not from malice, but from imbalance. In the aftermath of wars that spanned infinite Earths, Molecule Man lingered in solitude, his essence fractured across countless timelines. To restore stability, he began realigning realities, stitching them together with surgical precision. But in his attempt to mend the wounds of infinity, he disrupted the weave of Yggdrasil itself. Whole branches of the world tree withered as Molecule Man corrected what he saw as flaws in reality. Mortal worlds vanished without prayer or warning, folded into Owen's patchwork design of a stable cosmos. Thor, now seated upon the All-Father's throne, yet restless with the rune's whispers, felt the pain of Yggdrasil in his very soul. He saw the fading of stars, the death of worlds meant to thrive, and the silent unraveling of destinies not yet lived. He traced the wound to its source, and found not Surtur, not Loki, not even the meddling of celestials, but the singular presence of a man whose mortal shape belied his terrifying nature. When Thor confronted him upon a plane outside time, he found Molecule Man standing amid shifting fragments of galaxies, his body flickering as though it were both man and mirror. Molecule Man was weary, eyes hollow yet burning with conviction. "I am not destroying," Owen said, his voice fractured with 1,000 echoes. "I am preserving. If I do nothing, the seams will tear. If I stop, the multiverse collapses in on itself. I am the dam against an infinite tide." Thor's gaze was stern, his runes burning in his empty sockets, casting blue fire that wove into his hair like living lightning. "You preserve by unmaking. The worlds you correct are threads of Yggdrasil itself. Each death echoes across the tree. Your dam is poison to the river." Owen's hands trembled as he clenched them, and stars blinked out in his palm, before returning with a twitch of his will. "Then you would rather watch existence crumble into entropy." "I will not allow it. I cannot allow it." For the first time, Thor felt the runes stir with something akin to warning. This was not like the foes he had faced. Giants, demons, gods of death. Molecule Man was no adversary of ambition or pride. He was a man shackled to necessity, to a burden no soul was meant to bear. And yet, necessity or not, the balance of creation itself demanded confrontation. And so the stage was set, not by hatred, but by inevitability. The realms whispered of the storm to come. In Asgard, the Einherjar felt the trembling of the Bifrost. In distant galaxies, the Celestials turned their glowing heads. The living tribunal, ever silent arbiter, watched with veiled interest. Even eternity and infinity leaned closer, sensing the magnitude of what was about to unfold. Two beings, one god of thunder elevated to the raw essence of runes, the other man turned sovereign of molecules, would clash not for glory, but for the very definition of survival. And in that moment, Thor raised his hand, summoning not Mjolnir, but the runic storm itself, while Molecule Man's fingers twitched as he realigned the air around them into trembling patterns of infinite complexity. Rune King Thor stood unyielding, his very presence radiating the storm of the runes, an aura of inevitability. This was not the clash of titans for glory, nor of gods for dominion. It was necessity against destiny, the act of preservation against the law of balance. The first move came not as an attack, but a correction. Molecule Man lifted his hand, and the molecules of the very void trembled. Space bent, folded, then inverted as he reshaped the battlefield into a cage of shifting universes. He sought to contain Thor, to limit the storm before it broke. But Thor was no longer a being of limits. With a single rune-scribed gesture, he tore through Odin's construct as though it were mist. The storm erupted. Bolts of lightning made of pure rune script burned across the void, carving symbols into existence itself. These were not mere blasts of power, but invocations of ancient truths. Break, bind, burn. Each word etched into creation struck at the foundation of Odin's control. Molecule Man staggered, but his will surged. You cannot bind me, Thunder God. I am not matter, you are. His words echoed like a verdict. With a twist of thought, he unraveled the storm around Thor, reducing lightning to hydrogen, oxygen, nothing. The thunder faded like mist in sunlight, but Thor only smiled grimly. The runes are not mere matter. They are the law behind law. He slammed his palm upon the invisible plane, and instantly the runes flared again, this time from within Odin himself. The molecules of his very body shifted with foreign symbols, as if reality betrayed him. For the first time in centuries, Molecule Man felt the unsettling weight of resistance. Odin roared, his fragile human form cracking into radiant energy. With fury he expanded his will outward, rewriting entire constellations into weapons. Nebulae condensed into spears of plasma, black holes coiled into whips of crushing gravity, and quasar light exploded in beams meant to erase. He hurled them all at Thor in a cascade that could have annihilated multiverses. Thor did not dodge. He invoked the runes of protection, and a shield formed, not of energy, but of meaning. Every blow struck against it fizzled into nothing, as though attacking an idea rather than a barrier. Yet the onslaught shook him. Even the runes strained beneath the assault of infinite molecules shifting in endless precision. The void itself became a battlefield. Stars were born and died in the span of breaths. Galaxies collapsed into singularities, only to be remade as spiraling swords. Every strike of Odin's will warped existence, while every invocation of Thor's runes rewrote it back to balance. They were not merely fighting in the battlefield, they were the battlefield. And yet beneath the fury, Thor's eyes both gone yet seeing all saw Odin's heart. A man, not a god, wielding a burden too great. His strikes were desperate, not malicious. Thor's storm slowed, and he spoke even as he parried a collapsing galaxy hurled like a stone. Odin Reese, Thor's voice boomed like 10,000 thunders. Thy will is strong, but thy spirit breaks. This burden consumes thee, let it go. But Odin screamed back, raw, trembling, trembling. If I let go, everything dies. His voice cracked with madness and conviction. Don't you understand? I am the stitches holding this tapestry together. With that, Molecule Man unleashed his full force. He did not simply manipulate molecules, he turned Thor's existence inside out. The god's flesh unraveled into atoms, then into subatomic strings. His bones became quarks, his thunder became vibrations in quantum probability. Molecule Man sought to reduce Thor to potential, to scatter him into the unseen corners of infinity. And for a moment, Thor was gone. But then the runes flared. The Rune King was not flesh, he was not thunder, he was not even God. He was rune, he was meaning carved into reality itself. Thor reformed, not by matter but by law. The symbols of Yggdrasil blazed across the void, rewriting even Owen's molecular will. In a single instant, Thor surged forward, gripping Owen's trembling form. He did not strike with fists, nor with lightning, but with the rune of end. The battle ceased. Owen froze, feeling the weight of inevitability pressing upon him. His molecules screamed in rebellion, but the rune pressed deeper. It was not death Thor invoked, but release, the end of burden, the end of imbalance. Molecule Man's will faltered, his body trembling as galaxies slipped from his grasp. For the first time, he let go. Reality trembled, but it did not collapse. Yggdrasil's branches steadied, and the seams Owen had feared closed not by his trembling hands, but by the runes themselves. The multiverse did not need a dam, it needed balance. Owen fell to his knees, no longer glowing with infinite might, but merely a man again, breathing raggedly. He looked up at Thor with tears in his eyes. You saw it. You knew. Thor stood tall, the runes swirling about him like a living storm. Thy will was mighty, but thy soul weary. This was never thy burden to bear alone. And with that, Rune King Thor turned away, his storm dimming, leaving Owen Reese trembling but free. The clash was over, not by destruction, but by resolution. The god of thunder had not slain the man of molecules, he had liberated him, and so the multiverse sighed, balanced once more, as whispers spread among the cosmos. Rune King Thor had not only defeated Molecule Man, he had reminded eternity itself that even infinite power could break beneath the weight of being human.